Okay, I am back. We can try this again. Okay, so let's get in this. Give me a moment to get myself set up here. We're gonna try this again. So give me a minute while I get myself together. In a minute, checking notifications and all that fun stuff. There's a lot going on. That and okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting myself together. And we're live, okay. So if anyone, all my notifications come through at once, I gotta check everything just to make sure, like, just to kind of see what's going on. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, things are back to normal. We're doing it. I promised y'all an ink study on yesterday, Tuesday, and that did not happen. So let's do that tonight. I do also want to get into some pages, but I definitely want to do this ink study. Actually, before I even do the ink study, hold on. There's some other things that I wanted to do. So icons and her badges and emotes actually came out looking really, really well, and I want to do some extra fun stuff just for the channel. So I think one thing I definitely want to do is make sure that I have paper on hand. The loyalty points are active on the stream. So yes, I am back, Shelby. Hi. It's just a brief moment. I don't want to get into that here, but yes, I am back. So it's just a thing happened and needed to be fully present for that thing happening. So that's why, this almost didn't happen. You almost just saw the welcoming screen just because I was deeply embedded in a very deeply needed personal moment. So let me just put that way. But we're all good, and I'm good to be here. So what I wanted to do was, like I said, loyalty points are a thing now. So if you were to, the channel points, are a thing. So what I wanted to do is make sure that you guys are seeing some fun things that we can actually redeem those channel points for. As I mentioned before, there is no hydrate on this channel. You're not getting me with that one. No, it's not a thing here. But what is a thing here, this is a drawing channel. I will be working on art and comics and all sorts of fun stuff. So that is what we're going to be doing here. So what you will see is the 5-minute sketch redemption for 500 channel points, and then there is the access to the Sage's Haven. So that is IOF's very own Discord channel. The reason why that is set as high as it is because I specifically want to ensure that the people who will be going into that Discord community are going to be people who are interested in what I'm saying as a streamer, and interested in my art as an artist, and interested in being a part of this community here with all of that going on. So obviously for the next couple of, for the rest of the year really, I'm really going to be curating this channel much more. And really building it up more and hopefully growing. So I want to make sure that's, set to, that's going to be providing for space for a community to actually build upon itself in a safe, positive, hospitable way. And make sure that it's welcoming for anyone and everyone who wants to come by and hang out, anyone who wants to participate in that community, and just maintaining that safe place on the internet. Like, obviously we all want to make sure that we're all surrounded by people that we can trust, people that we can expect to always be respectful of our needs and our boundaries, as well as us as people. And that, means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but I want to start with the basics. So to access the Sage's Haven, which is our community, it's a work in progress with the name, but we're going to stick with that for right now. Yes, it is 300 channel points. So that basically means, you're a returning visitor. You've been coming by in the stream. You've actually been participating in discussions in the chats here that are happening on the chat channel. And you're not just kind of a person who just kind of swung by, hit the follow button, all of a sudden now you have access to the Discord. No. It's specifically set up to make sure that the only people who are going to be going there are people who are invested in what I'm doing here and invested in this community. So that's why that's set to that way it is. Another thing that is happening, yes, as an affiliate, I can start taking subscriptions. So another thing with that is I have enacted Twitch integration with Discord. So what that means is that if you subscribe to the Twitch channel, you gain access to the Discord. The thing about the subscriptions, the way I'm looking at it right now, is that when you make that moment, when you make that decision to subscribe to this channel, you are making the decision that you are invested in this community. So that's why I have no problem doing that and saying, hey, you have 2 ways that you can actually participate. If you don't want to spend the $4.99 a month, look, I totally get it. $4.99, hey, if you can spend channel points to get into the Discord, hey, then just spend channel points. It's not that big of a deal to me. I have, you know, put this together because I wanted to have a community with whom I can share my art and my work with and the things that I love doing. And so that's why I've built that Discord for that reason. I am not going to be hurt if you decide that you don't want to subscribe to this channel, but you'd rather just use your channel points. That's fantastic. You're still a part of this community if that's the case, and you're still making that that decision to be here. I accept that. But if you do choose to subscribe, hey, you get access to the Discord channel. You just have to check your, I forget where it is. I think you'll probably get like if you check your Discord like account, your profile, you'll see that you'll have access to the Sage's Haven on Discord. So, and then you can just log in and have fun. It's pretty empty right now because I just opened it up, but you know, hopefully as we start to build here, we'll start to get more people participating, which I would love to see. And that's what it'll be. But for right now, hey, I'm cool with it just being me going there and just the 2 subscriptions that I have. Thank you guys for subscribing. And that's just kind of where we are. Obviously, there is the highlight my message and they send a message in sub-only mode. I've kind of turned off the other things. They don't really apply to what I'm doing here. And I'll be adding more of the rewards into the channel point rewards, so you'll actually start to see more things come up that I think will be kind of fun. I'm looking forward to the 5-minute sketch thing myself. Like, seriously, interrupt me. Like, I would love to just kind of do some impromptu art here on the channel, just kind of share that with you guys. So and I look at that and I set that the way it is because, you know, if it gets to the point where it's so, you know, low, where there's people who are coming through and it's like they've accumulated enough channel points, like, yeah, we can do an entire stream of me just doing those little quick sketches. It's totally fine. Believe me, if it gets too much, I will let you know. So, but I think it'll be fun, and I'll definitely add more stuff to it so as time goes on. So let's go ahead and enjoy what we came here to enjoy and get into some fun things. Let me flick the lights on real quick. That's 1. That's 2. I'm not cool enough to have a clapper, so give me a minute while I get up and get myself situated. Okay, so I see something here. So do we request the subject of the sketch or do you surprise us? Well, I mean, we can do it either way. I may have missed part of that explanation. No, I didn't even explain it that way. So thank you for adding that. But yeah, if there's something you would like me to do, remember, keep it to a 5-minute sketch. So maybe just some like quick pose or maybe an animal challenge. Dogs. Or, you know, maybe I will just surprise you with something that I can just whip up in a few, you know, minutes. So that's really the only thing, is just we just have that time limit of like it needs to be something quick, because obviously I've got a project that I'm working on and I don't want to entirely Fox. Okay. All right. Let me look up some references for foxes. Let's have some fun with this. So we can definitely do that. So that's why I have the paper here. Let me see what I can find. No, Google, not Fox News. There we go. Foxes. I like a couple of these. Oh, I like this one. He's cute. Alright, so I'm gonna save this one. And we're going to add a new source here. We'll call this one reference. We're gonna find our little fox so you can see what I found. There he is. That's the reference I found. I think it's cute. I was so excited when I saw it. I'm glad you're gonna take me up on that. It's perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and let's draw our little fox friend here. So I'm gonna make sure that the camera is right over top of where we need it to be. Also, I think you'll have to DM me a link for the Discord because I was not able to find a way to it. I do not claim to be here. Hey, you know what? I will definitely send that to you, Shelby. Let me go ahead and I will send you that link right now. Oh, there you are. Okay. Like I said, it's pretty quiet, pretty empty there, but, you know, it's what happens when you're starting off, so I'm not upset by it. Alright, let me minimize that, and let's go back to our fox friend. I'm going to start with his little eyes. Little snout. I can do better than that. Let's actually do a really great construction here. So we've got this little body back there. We've got this part over here as its tail. Now, we're actually kind of blurry right now. What's happening here? Naturally, technical difficulties all over the place. Alright, so you can see my hand, and it gets blurry. I wonder why that's happening. Okay, there we go. This just got randomly out of focus for some reason. I do believe that's a paw right there. So the big thing when it comes to, you know, drawing from reference is that you need to reduce everything down to basic shapes. reference better. So you're seeing the same reference I'm seeing, but you're seeing it in a different way than what I'm seeing it. I have it larger on my actual monitor here, just so I can actually make out details. Get this little side fur here. These little ears. Actually has much more of a body back there than what I put in. Go in with our mechanical pencil and actually do this differently just to get us going. I think one of the things that I learned when I was in art school, when I was in school for art, not necessarily when I was in art school, but was to try not to get bogged down by those little details in a piece. Like get the basic shapes, get all the starting stuff down, and then go back. Because I definitely was, still kind of am sometimes, the kind of artist who, yeah, I will totally let myself get carried away by little details. And we don't want to do that. So we don't have to get like every bit of fur. We can just kind of gesture it in, just like that. And as long as we get the basic shape of everything down, we are typically in very good shape. Just use shape a lot in that sentence. So we can do that. That. And we'll just get in here like that. Because So when you get down to the shapes of everything, then the rest of the composition tends to make more sense. Direction here. We'll do that because we know that's a little paw. Got values in. And the great thing about that channel point redemption is that, you know, it really will get me like thinking in other ways about my work and get me, you know, trying some different things and learning some different things. Next, we want to add a little value to our little guy here. Very lightly. Put in here. Lightly get in here. That. Expand his little butt back that way. And then we've got that happening right over there. Maybe some of this happening right up in here. And there we have our little fox. We'll get in here with a little of that. Just to more define our lines here. There we go. And there is our little fox friend. That was magical. I like that. Thank you, Shelby. I don't know how many times you've drawn foxes, but I love this one so much. These shapes are shaping up to be quite cute looking. Well, you know what? This is going to have to go into the gallery, or the folio on in the Discord, so I will... At the end of the night, I will definitely make sure I get this scanned up. So we'll have that to kind of enjoy. So thank you, Shelby, for that one, because that one's fun. And of course, I should probably sign it. There we go. All right, so the reason why I pulled out this pad of paper, let me go ahead and take this off of here. put it right over there on top of the printer so I know what I need to do with that. Let me take a drink real quick. I need my green ink. If I can find where I put it. How about I am so glad that I have this new camera set up. It's like a better camera, a much clearer camera. There you are. Oh, hey geek. Enjoy your fantastic voyage. Yes, I will definitely be here when you get back. Shake the ink. So, one thing I found is that you can with Twitch, you can pretty much like edit most of the graphics that are attached to your channel. I think I'm going to enjoy that channel port through. I really hope that you do. I really hope that you do. You can edit just about everything. One of the things that you can change is actually the channel points icon. So that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it something a little more interesting than just a little circle. And then of course you can do fun things with the actual images related to the channel points rewards themselves. As soon as I come up with an idea of what that's going to be, I will let you know. I may actually use that fox. Who knows? I am going to need my water to wash my brushes out with. And yes, I will use my big brush here to actually do this. So what I want to do is, oh, you know what? Instead of using ink, hold on a minute. I have gouache that I've never used before. Let's use that instead. So, my gouache paint, completely untouched. Just have to find the color that I want, which is, of course, green. I can play around with that tonight. Oh, look at that. I found it. So I have here a lot of boxes that need to be tossed into the trash. So instead of channel points, you can call them something else. I might be able to change the name. I'm not entirely sure. I'll find out. I'll definitely find out. So one thing I definitely want to do is, but I know I can change the image on it, so I'll definitely do that. You're seeing my mouse here, which, whatever. I don't want that there, though. There we go. So gouache is blissfully like acrylic and watercolor. So we're going to just put a little glob of that right there. I have watched a handful of tutorials on how to use gouache. I've never actually used it myself just yet, so I'm excited about what's going to happen here. And I've got my pad of watercolor paper here, so I'm going to play around with this. This is like in the way. this like super thin. And this is what I was about to do this with my ink, and then I realized I can just do this with my gouache as well. The color in gouache is super dense. So I'm still going to do a test on my paper here before I put anything down. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So this is the green that I'm using right here. That's perfect. And I'm doing this completely without doing any pencils because I know what I want and I know what I want it to look like. So now I'm gonna make sure that the camera is centered over what I'm doing before I do it. Oh, we can put the fox away. We can put that away. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. I like it. And next we're gonna go up a step in value, or density rather. Had to Google that because I had no idea what that was. I did in fact spell it wrong. What did you have to Google? Oh, gouache. Yeah, actually, should be a command here. I think. Hold on a minute. I know I had one set up. Ah, there it is. Do I have the gouache one set up? No, I didn't. Okay. So that's probably one that I need to reset up. I had that. I'll just have to put that back. All right. Now we're some very thick paint here. The idea is now we have to make sure that it is the density that I need. There's this little space right here. Looks good, but I think it needs to be a little more rich. So I'm gonna get in here. So just a smidge more paint. Now, the thing that we like about gouache is that because, like I said, its color density is really great, and you don't need much water to really activate it and get working with it. The less water you add to it, the more rich the color is. So, like, I can add, you know, just enough water to get it activated and it'll come out very, very dense. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. to do too much. So that is what I want to have down there in that little space for the channel points. If I can change the name of it, which I don't think that I can, that'd be kind of cool. I'll come up with something for that. So, but our little wisp will do just fine. So that's what's that there. Hey Geek, welcome back. Yeah, get it, get it, get it, get it. I'm gonna love those emotes, by the way. I'm already a fan. Definitely already a fan. And I can't wait for you guys to see the rest of how our my little subscriber badge looks. So it's very different than what I think I had originally shown in my concepts. Let me put this aside, because I think that is exactly what I want to be there. It's very different, and I dig that. Oh, make sure you can see that. So, yep, I'm a fan. Put this over here. So I'm going to scan this up tonight, hopefully, and get that to where I need it to be. Put that right over there with the fox. And that's to get the channel point naming. I found a stream with the name of it changed. So, okay, sweet, thank you. I will definitely take a look at that and do something fun with that. I'm looking forward to that. So, like I said, you can change up so many of the different icons and graphics attached to a channel and all the little things that go with it, and I intend to do exactly that. The other thing that I want to do is to change around what the bits badges look like, and there's also bit emotes to throw around in there, so I'm definitely going to be playing around with that. That may be its own separate stream. I don't know if I'll even get around to that tonight. I mean, we did that one, so who knows, maybe inspiration will strike, and then I'll just go with that. Actually, there is something that's kind of floating in my head right now, so maybe we'll just play around with that right now. Alright, so what I want, instead of the green, indigo, not blue, not blue. There it is. Not ultramarine. You can change what they're called, how they're earned, and the icons. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. I can't wait to do that. Cannot wait to do that. Much excite. Alright, so we're going to add some ultramarine blue in here. Just a little bit. The wonderful thing about gouache paint is that, as everybody says, a little bit goes a long way, and I need some fresh water here because I can't use that. It's all green. So funny, because the reason why I have 2 jars filled with water is so that I have one to wash my inks out with, wash my brushes out with, and one to pull fresh water from. And then, well, you know, I end up tainting the first jar, and then I have to go to the second one. I end up using it right eventually. Alright, so we want... I use dropperfuls. It's a much better measurement for me. Where's my brush? And then we're going to lay that down on here. Hopefully the stream will come back up and do what I need it to do, because I'm having all sorts of issues here today. Okay, here we're back. Just random connection issues. Hopefully nothing to be worried about. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Alright, so I drew my little sphere there. Now I'm really gonna screw this up, aren't I? Hopefully not. Draw our favorite little fairy familiar here. Go. Now we want to add some depth to it, so I'm going to actually get a little bit more of this blue in here. And yeah, that's fine. Can actually even the tone here. I definitely want to do more with gouache, so, but I think we'll add just a little bit more for tone. Okay. So definitely want to play around with that. So I want this to be related to the bits, so I think that'll be fun. But I want to say, like, what else can I do to, like, bring this up a little more? Oh, you know what? We can keep with the theme we've got going on. We can do that. Using the brush to pick up some of that water that's there. That's perfect. I love it. Get this to dry a little bit. We've got a bit of hair in here that we don't want there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's going to drive me crazy. Hold on a minute. I know I have a... Huh. And me without any tweezers at my desk. No clipper. Coming up today. There we go. All right. May have actually been a bristle from the brush. So if we keep it pretty light like that, add just a little more blue, just because I want color density. That's what I'm going for here. Spread this out just a little bit. Starting to get a little out of control here, so let's try to rein that back in. That's what I wanted. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty good. So, like I said, this will be related to the bits. So this will be just kind of the first bits badge that I'm going to work on, and then we'll come up with some other ones, some other designs. Probably still stemming from the same little guy here. It's a pretty blue. It is ultramarine blue, so it's a nice medium kind of warmish blue. So I dig it. It's definitely one of those. So whenever I buy colors, I always look at the colors I'm actually going to need to use. And the thing about the primary colors is that obviously they can't be mixed. But what you can do, if you're looking to buy paints of any kind, and I recommend this, like get 2 different shades, of your primaries. Get like a medium. Like if you're starting out, I recommend like just your medium shades of colors, and then when you want to branch out and start experimenting more, definitely go for like a light shade of a blue or a dark shade of a blue. Get a couple of those because they're going to work very, very differently depending on what you've got going with them. And since you can't mix them, well, you're going to need those at some point if you're trying to mix something else. So that is going to be our little first bits badge, and we'll come up with some others. But what I want to do, like I said, is get into this ink study. So we're going to put this off to the side. Let's bring our studio watercolor paper back. Just gonna take a page out of here so I have something that's laying flat, kind of, sort of. And I will use can't wait to use those images. That's going to be fun. Go ahead and get our drawing surface out. Alright, so what do I want to do for this? Actually, do I even want to do this one? Aha, you know what? I got a better idea. I'm actually going to go back to the image that I've already gotten done. There's so many tools around. Okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna go back to this guy. You see what I've got here? Yes, kinda, sorta. Okay. Well, I will work with yes, kinda, sorta. Because I wanted to. This is the same character that I was working on last night. The question is what his hand should be doing. Let's go ahead and get in there. Alright, so we're gonna go back up here, add in our pencil details. Just like our fox, we don't want to get bogged down with, drawing every individual hair, but I camera over just a little bit. color and shape remind me of Navi from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina. You know, just... You know, that's a good point to make. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I think I was just drawing a shape and it just kind of came out that way. So I can see it. I can see it, and I'm okay with that. I like that. I love that game. Maybe I was inspired a little bit. And we'll do some overlapping there. I think he needs to be holding a cup of something. How about you? I think I was originally thinking, oh, he's just making a fist. And I'm like, no, there's enough fists in the world. How about he's just holding a cup of something hot? Favorite part is drawing all the little wrinkles in his jacket. Curve of his butt. Bring this up a little bit so you can see. Actually get rid of this tape down here. It's kind of just interfering, I think, with the image. Actually, I think that should be good. Getting on this ink study here. To redo that beard. There we go. Okay. details that were kind of missing from out of this originally. And the rest of that collar needs to be behind his beard here. Okay. Okay. We'll do that. All right. I guess I'm leaving the tape, so whatever. We are ready to ink. Let me find my ink. There it is. Make sure the lid's on it, because I do have to shake it up. Take a drink. Are ready to get into this ink study. So I'll set it up like I do with all of my other pieces that I ink. Just a weird glob of ink on my brush. Okay. Let's swipe some of that glob off. Glob off. Okay. I'm going to start at the top with the head. Get it on his ear. Let's do this right. And we all know, like his brother and sisters, his hair is completely white. Get his nose. His lip. Get his collar right here because the beard is about to interfere with that, and his hair. So we'll get down in there. And we can make it fun and curly. There we go. perfect. It's funny that I can actually say that, like, he has a brother and a pair of sisters. Like, one of the things that was kind of always, I don't know, every time I created characters, they always had family members. I don't know what it was with me and just making sure that my characters had a family, but it was like, I don't know, maybe there was, like, some need in me to, you know, kind of reaffirm the place that family has in a person's life and how that develops them. But I mean, I had family, obviously. I have a brother and a sister. I am the oldest of 3. But, you know, it was always about the relationships that people had with each other and with their family members and partners and people in their lives that I was always deeply fascinated about, and always ensured that all of my characters had something grounding them. I think it was probably because of where a lot of stories in fantasy were always, especially in comic books, it was always, you know, this person, or, you know, especially like in early stories, like this person lost both of his parents in some tragic accident, or, you know, they didn't have any kind of family members. So it's like, maybe let's give our characters some family so they're not just completely out there, literally alone in the world. I think it leads to deeper character development and makes more fleshed out characters. People can be more invested. I agree. I really do agree. And so I've always felt that, you know, characters that I create, they need to be connected with others. You know, there's obviously a place in storytelling for characters that do not have family, simply because they're people that either, you know, due to circumstance or personal choices, don't have family members or other people in their lives when they may want to have those connections. And so, you know, storytelling should reflect, you know, who we are as people. And I think that, you know, there's probably, maybe there was a fascination or an, maybe a fixation on what it would be like to move through the world without family members, without those personal connections. So that could very well be a reason why that was as prevalent as it was or still kind of is, I guess, in some ways, in fantasy storytelling. Much in the same way that you can't see what I'm doing. Much in the same way that you know, sometimes you're getting these post-apocalyptic worlds and story building in world crafting, where it's just like, well, can we maybe just do not post-apocalyptic? Maybe things in the world are actually kind of alright, and we still have stories that challenge us in different ways, or that challenge our heroes. I almost tend to prefer characters with imperfect or problematic families than no living relatives. Right. Because at least, you know, it's like, hey, you have some kind of connection to, you know, people, and you're not just kind of out here, you know, winging life by yourself. And that could be because it relates more to my own life, I suppose. I feel that. I totally feel that. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's exactly what storytelling should do. Like, it should in some way reflect, you know, actual people and what actual people go through. Be a little sloppy here because that area is going to end up being just all black. And what was going on over here? Do that. And yeah, I definitely, like, I get the tragic backstory because, you know, I guess at a certain point it's like, you know, we have to see some type of external motivation for a character's actions. And I think maybe the idea is that if everything was going right in a person's life, they probably won't have any actual motivation to be that kind of hero, to do any of the stuff that we often see them doing. Like, take Batman, for instance. Like, he would not be Batman if, like, or would he? Would he be Batman if he still had his parents, if they weren't tragically taken from him? You know, I think that's kind of worth considering. So now I want to do that. So, you know, I do wonder about that. Alright, so he is inked. Next thing to do was actually we'll start by filling in all the areas that are going to be basically pure black. Let me find a different brush to use. I don't want to do that with this one. This is just kind of my line brush. Tragic backstory does tend to feel like the easy path sometimes, though. I love writing, and it has definitely been more challenging without writing characters without that easier motivation. You're absolutely right. Because it's like, okay, they have, like I said, they have some external motivation to actually do these things. But I think that's part of the joy about writing is that, you know, we can have characters that have that. And we can look at ourselves and say, how can we get this character to do what we need them to do in this story without completely wiping out their history, without, you know, literally leveling their entire family line. How can we get this character to be who we need them to be? And I'm all about, you know, challenging myself as a writer in that regard, because I like challenging myself to do that. You know, so my characters, no, some of them have families and some of them don't, but it's not always tragic. It's if you were to look at it and were to consider it from each character's perspective, yes, how they lost their family is tragic for them. And we as people will sympathize with that tragedy just because we've experienced it. So, but it's not necessarily like, oh, this person's family was horrifically, violently murdered, but like, oh, they, died in their sleep, or, they had a heart attack, or, natural causes kind of thing. They were of an age, where, people were expecting, like, well, they're going to go any moment now. So I think that's actually valid in storytelling to say, hey, or even just say, well, their family's alive, but yeah, they have problems with them, so they don't talk to them as much. All right. I'm going to get in here. And we're going to, really cool technique that I saw when it came to having one object that was black layered atop another object that was black like this would be to just kind of leave a gap line right in there. Just so we can tell that there was actually some kind of break. Here too. Now the thing with these characters here, they find out that their mother is a goddess, so but like she's not the only mother that they've known or that they've had in their lives. But she is literally their mother. So, kind of dealing with that whole coming to terms with the fact that, oh, your mother was, this person, but your actual mother was this person. It's kind of like, oh, there's family that I didn't know that I had kind of situation. It's unfortunate, but I think in this world it's hard for people to believe that people would be good for the reason of doing the right thing, so it becomes less realistic for the reader in some scenarios. It's a heck of a surprise. Yeah, didn't realize this. Like, the only character of the four of them who actually knows this story is the eldest. And that's just because of his whole story. For him, he had always known. But due to other circumstances that were much more traumatic in his life, he had pushed all of that memory down. And just kind of said, no, I cannot participate in this. I can't be this person. that my mother demands that I be because of this other tragedy that has happened in my life, which for him was the death of a partner. His parents are very much still alive. Like the parents who raised him, very much still alive, or at least they were at the time. Like when all that part of his story happened. But he himself had to kind of live throughout centuries of, purposely suppressed memory. And then we come back to him. We're meeting him in this story at a point where he's ready to go back to that and ready to remember that history. Where he's kind of forced in a way to confront it. Okay. So now that we've done all that, yes, smaller brush, this will work. Meanwhile, this guy, and do you have a way that you will make the comics available when you're done making? Oh yeah, they'll be on my website. They will absolutely be on the website. I'm putting together a store page that will have the issues there. What I actually probably should do, since I have the cover, which you are seeing down there right below my face, I can probably actually put together that cover now and just get that loaded up onto the page. I'm not going to do the pre-order thing. I did that once before. It's not that it didn't work. I think I'd rather just show more of the work itself before I start saying, hey, pre-orders are available. So, because I don't know when this book is going to get done. Like, I want it to be done by the end of the year, but that could very well be, hey, it's done in time for Christmas. So, knowing my speed, I'm feeling invested at this point. Just need to make sure, yes, it will definitely happen this year, and it'll be on the website. So next thing I'm going to do is get in here. And like I said, just kind of... But meanwhile, this guy here and their sisters had no idea that, they came from ancestral divinity. Ampersand XR, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to Illustrator of Fantasies. I am your host, Celestian, where I am a comics artist and a fantasy illustrator. By choice and by trade. So I appreciate you stopping by. So I want to not do too much or overdo it. But we'll come down here. I really need this practice here. just to kind of figure out exactly how I intend to ink any of these pages. Oh, that looks good. And what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So they have no idea that they come from ancestral divinity, so it's a shock for them more than anything. And, you know, as the older brother, he has to be the one to say, hey, this is actually a thing. Like, you're so much more than just mortal. You are part divine. And it's, the funny thing is, like, he doesn't really get the opportunity to even say any of that because of the circumstances of the book and what's happening until it's the end. And it's like, well, you're going to have to kind of go out and figure this out for yourself. Your lines are lovely. I do a lot of line work myself, so I appreciate that stuff. You know what, Ampersand? I appreciate you saying that because this is really... It's not my first time inking, but I don't ink enough. And that's why I'm doing this ink study, so that I can kind of figure that out and what this all needs to look like. So, seeing someone else who does this, hey, I appreciate you coming through. So we're going to do that. And that. This image will definitely go up on the website once it's done, and hopefully it's done well, so, because I'd like to show this off a little more. But, you know, they have to kind of go ahead and figure out all of that stuff for themselves and say, okay, what does it mean for me to be, you know, demi-divine? Come down here. Because they have to, you know, like I said, they have to figure that out. Because he's not... They are all also on different worlds, so, and the only way they can really communicate with each other is basically through dreams. So each time, you know, they sleep, they're kind of thrust back into the dream, and that's really the only time they can actually spend with each other. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Kind of, sort of. Can I get here? Get some of that. Some of that. It's definitely a heavy realization, exactly. So, you know, and then we just go from there. You know, meanwhile, their parents are like, what? Their parents are just existing and not really able to, you know what their kids are going through. or like their other family members or friends. I need to bring that up just a little more. Here we go. Because who's going to be able to relate to that, really? It's true. So, that's really what's happening with them. And then, there's the idea of like, okay, but what does that mean? And then it's kind of this exploration of like, oh, so every time that I experienced this, that was this other part of myself that was coming more and more true. That was that part of myself that I didn't even know about was expressing itself. Why I, let's say that, oh, so you're telling me that I devoted my life to justice simply because that's what my mother, this divine being, stands for, or what she would have fought for. So that's where that's coming from. So that's kind of that realization. And then also there comes the crisis of like, well, where do I end and that part of me begins? How do I know which is which? And try to figure that out for themselves. So there's a lot of kind of some fun, heavy ideas going on in there that I'm super excited about exploring. I'm gonna do that because, yep, that's what I wanted to have happen. Do this. Meanwhile, for this guy here, because of his story taking place in the future, finding out that his mother is this divine being, it's like, it's not so much that it's like not a shock to him, but, he isn't really able to do anything with that information because of what he does. He is already in a position to kind of deal with like these impossible things happening. That's what he stands for. He's already a protector, a defender, and he did not have to he didn't need to know that his mother was this in order for him to do any of those things, because he's already doing those things, has already invested his life in doing those things, and it's like, oh, well, whatever. I'm just going to keep doing what I do because this is who I am. This is, it's not just the job, but I've already bought in to this, so I don't need to do more with this information. So, you know, kind of setting up his challenges of, you know, what that means and who he's fighting for. In some black just to give a little more volume and depth to his hair. We don't want too much black, just enough to help define some of these curls. Right. He's just beautiful. I mean, he is literally just beautiful. Brush is dry, but that's okay because I think I'm done anyway. Okay. And there he is. So on the Instagram page, I think it was on Instagram, I did give the archetypes as names for all four of the characters. So the sisters are, let me find it. Peace and Grace. He is Mercy, and the eldest is Divinity. So I gave them all their main archetypes, which their names will be drawn from. Hey, Bam! He looks dope. Thank you! I'm super excited about him. He does look really, really good. So I think there's obviously some places I could probably pull in a little more detail with my inking, but since this is like a real attempt at, you know, getting some of these deeper shadow areas in here, I don't want to push it too much until I actually gain some experience. So I will. I'll definitely gain more experience. Get in here in these ears. So this is Mercy. And each one has a power that's related to Instagram link on your Twitch doesn't work. Do you change your Insta name? The link is still to Celestia. That's interesting. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me... Because I know... Let me see what's going on. It should be going to Celestian IOF. So if it's going to a different one, then I'm gonna have to figure out why that is. Because I clicked it and opened it. I did change my name at one point, so but profile name coming up should definitely be Celestian IOF. So if that's still an issue, then I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with that. Oh, you mean, oh, I think I see what you're saying. I think I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can go in here and fix that then. Give me a moment. It sure does. Thank you for pointing that out. Alright, let me fix this right now. Because I also have the little guy, little panel in the chat that should update that too. That should go directly to where it's supposed to be. Thank you. That call out. Alright. So I would say go ahead and refresh the page, and it should go to where it should go. So we're gonna put this also aside, and let's pull out our pages. I need all of this stuff to go. I got so much stuff going on here. I guess I apparently need another table or something. And of course, they're right here, the pages I'm looking for. Okay, so I've got that. Got this. I gotta figure out what was happening on this page. That is page 32 to 33. Aha, okay. Let's go ahead and start with the background here, what's happening back here. We're actually just about done with these chapter breaks in the book. And best part is we came up last night with the actual design and look for everybody in this scene. So the other thing I want to address here, so why this character is already invested and bought in is he is part of a group of warriors from across the known universe who have been brought together to help defend and work alongside the sages. So he's already seen them. He's already met a sage, he already knows what they can do, and then it turns out, oh, my brother's a sage. A brother I didn't know I had is a sage. Probably because of the power that is invested within us. Like I said, he's already bought in. He's already there, so he already knows what his job is and what he's meant to do. So that extra little bit about, you know, his mom, his mother, not really a thing that's going to be motivating him. Alright, so... got a full house tonight. Hello, everybody. Do you have a map of the world? I have a map of one of the worlds. I have the map of our Divine Sage's world. I don't have a map of all the others yet. That's definitely one of those things I'll be developing, just kind of part of the story. Just not available yet. So it will happen though. And it's only because like each story takes place on its own different world, so I have to know the places where all these things happen, obviously. So yes, there will be a map of all the worlds, just not yet. I love maps. I like maps too. It's really great to kind of give you that sense of place in a story, so you know exactly where things are. You know, these characters are going to one town or the next, and you're like, where is this? What is happening right here? And that, you know, the map will definitely say, oh, okay, so we actually do see the world itself taking place. Planetary, I like it. I'll be excited to see them. I will be excited to see them too. I will definitely be very, very happy to have those put together. Her arms folded. Remember, we've changed our outfits, so we gotta use the new outfits that we have. So let's go ahead and put them in that. So she gets to wear this. We have some people back over here that you can't see because I'm off the screen. Get in there. That, and we're adding in, so in my layout here, these characters back here aren't there, but I wanted to add them just to help fill in this whole scene. Her in there. Have this character facing over in this direction too. this is our lovely floating divine mother here, grand ancestor herself. This little gesture here to show that she's clearly doing something. Anyway, yes, welcome everybody to Illustrator of Fantasies, the Sage's Haven. We're working on now this brand new, for me, brand new comic story. I've been on and off making comics for a few years, and I finally decided I needed to kind of get back into it, so. She's kind of got that, Mrs. Bellum thing going on over here where the entire upper body is just consumed by her hair. That's a Powerpuff Girls reference for those of you who don't get it. And let's not forget her ribbons. Help fill up the scene a little bit. I used to love that show as a kid. And I think I was in high school at the time when it was around, so. It's funny how some features and things just kind of happen by accident when I'm just drawing random gestural shapes. Next, where is my... There it is. So we have our sages here. Want to do, I mean, literally this is all I want to do right here with these pages, is just kind of get these basic pencil lines in. I've already developed the outfits that they're wearing, so that's why I can actually just kind of go in and say, all right, I know exactly what these outfits look like, how they should be worn, and who's wearing them. So then I can just kind of go in and do this pretty quickly. start off with her ribbons here. Things that are basically in the top layer. Of course, in my head now I'm like, well, what do these ribbons mean? They're just aesthetic. Kind of a thing that makes her look like she has wings. Even though she actually does have wings. Let me look back at my sketch of her here. Oops, I'm sorry, you guys can't really see what I'm doing over here. Just do that. Some of that's gonna go off the page, but that's okay. I might change the angle of her hand here just so we can see more of this figure back here. Or I might just leave it the way it is. I'm sure that all the major layers are represented there. So let's do a quick pan of this page here. So we've got starting there, and then we just kind of come over here. Okay. Looks good to me. But yeah, I definitely can't wait to get this book out for you all to see it. It'll be really, really fun. And I hope that people will enjoy it a lot. That. Alright, so there is that page. Where are my finished? Oh, there. Got this thing. Next page. We have a little more stuff going on. And it's a lovely aesthetic, flowing and elegant and mystical. That's the whole idea. I've got disasters waiting to happen here. Put the cap on the black ink, so we don't have any issues there. Put the cap on both the waters, so we don't have any incidents there. We are 2 hours in and feeling good, but I think I'm gonna take a quick stretch break, grab myself a refresher, and then I'll be right back. And I'm back. I am back. Okay. Where were we? So we are now on this page where I just have, whoops, throwing stuff around. Where basically we have this scene is happening. So that makes it a little easier to kind of figure out here. I love taking these like wide angles from the perspective of whatever they're looking at. I think that's really cool. So now we have Mother Goddess here. Basically laying hands on the world. Draw her hands here. Obviously, because her hair is so big, we're not going to worry about drawing the two characters that are back here on either side of her. So she gets to really dominate this page, which is exactly the way it should be. That, and then figure out how tall this character over here is. Sent you a DM. Hey, let me check that out. Ah, you sent it there. Huh. Thank you for that. Alright, I will adjust that right now. Thank you, Shelby, for the heads up. I appreciate that. Let me jump in here and take care of that right now. There. No, it's actually here. I'm gonna troubleshoot that. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Points come. Woo! Just doing stuff, going places. Alright. figure out a way to make that work eventually. It will definitely happen. I'll try to make that work. Thank you, Shelby, for calling that out. Don't worry, y'all. It's just something else entirely. We'll approach that at some other time. I do want to cultivate a safe and relatively secure environment. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely do. So I want to make sure that that is a control that is always in place. So I'm going to have to figure out how that's going to work. So thank you, Shelby, for the heads up on that one. What we're pointing out was just kind of something with the security of the Discord chat. So currently, right now, the only way to join the Discord is to subscribe. I'm working on a different way to make that accessible for people to use channel points to do that. So that will be available. And then we'll just go from there. So I do want you guys to have access to that, but I want to have that control in there. So, all right. Draw girl here. Hey, Shmee, how's it going? Maybe they redeem and then you whisper to them. It's all I could think of, but it's not automated since you'd have to be sure to follow with the link. You're right, and I think that I'll have to figure out a really great way to do that, so... Shmee, welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it. I love having you here. Details in there. How are you guys? We are just fine here. Enjoying life with electricity and $100 worth of replace. Oh, that's fantastic, Shelby. I was, you know, now that you mentioned it, I realized I did not ask you how that was going, but I'm glad to know that your electricity got turned back on. So who ended up replacing your groceries then? We were talking about that a little while ago this morning, for a little while this morning. Let's come over here. Excuse me, mouse. We'll just do that. Just tilt that way. Okay, there we go. $17 without, I just replaced them myself. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. To be fair to my landlord, he pays the electric and doesn't complain or place any limits on air conditioners. I mean, that's great and all. So, like, did the electric company realize what was going on and, you know, kind of reach out to everybody once they figured it out? Or, how did that get resolved? Like, how long, what I'm asking, like, how long did it take them to figure that out? That's what I'm trying to say. Just have her do. They did not reach out. I finally got into the system using my landlord's phone number and reported all the apartments as being out. Then my neighbor called an hour later and she was told they were trying to find a team to come. Wow. Oh, that is rough. I am so sorry. But, I mean, hey. You got power restored, so that's definitely something. And, you know, they probably wouldn't have known if it weren't for you doing all that, so, I mean, that's great. That's really fantastic, Shelby. I'm just sorry that you had to go through that and had to kind of take on all that yourself. Ooh. Water too fast. And an hour after that, they showed up and fixed it in like an hour and 15 minutes. Their system was so messed up, and there were so many outages. Ooh. And was that... Now, I know you mentioned earlier that was from a transformer. Was that like just something that happened in a storm, or was that just some weird freak thing that just kind of happened? First time I've ever experienced anything this bad. Usually we flicker or lose it for an hour or two, but this was so intense. Tropical storm with the winds really beat stuff up. Got it. Yeah, that's got to be nerve-wracking. I think the longest time when I lived back in Philly, the longest time I think we've gone without power from a storm was pretty much in like 8 hours. And it was at night, so it was like the worst thing at night on a weekend when you're like, I don't have anything going on, and I was probably going to stay up late anyway, but now I guess I'm going to bed early because I have no power to do anything. Apparently a tornado touched down in Maine, so things got weird in New England. Whew! Do you guys get tornadoes up there on a regular basis? Or is that just literally a random occurrence because of the storm? I never thought that tornadoes in New England was like a thing. But, you know, East Coast and all, so all sorts of things happen. I know it's pretty rare up here. Yeah, I thought so, but I mean, you never know. Obviously, I don't live there now, so, you know, we obviously have the tornado sirens here in Ohio, so I guess everybody's on high alert whenever that happens, and I'm like, okay. And I feel like at some point one actually did happen, and I slept through it, I guess. I don't know. Or it was like a little, I don't know. Ohio was weird. Like, I know there was one that happened, and my experience of it was minimal. And also, like, knock down a tree and offensive they appear. Better than when I lived in Texas, that's for sure. I mean, back in Philly, like, we'll have, like, the really strong winds, but never, like, an actual tornado, so, which will do the exact same thing. Like, those strong winds will knock down a tree or whatever. We'll have those powerful storms. Heck, we've gotten earthquakes too, but those have been, no one would notice. Just the little baby tremors. I remember telling someone about the earthquake that happened a few years ago. I think it was in DC. That was felt all up the East Coast, the Eastern Seaboard. So, little baby tornadoes, basically. I woke up one afternoon, and woke up in the afternoon, and just, like, I think I was probably taking a nap or something. It was just like, I'm like, why is everything shaking? It wasn't like a, oh my god, it's a big one. It's like, you could just kind of feel the subtle pulsing of the floor, and just kind of notice things were just kind of a little shaky. And then, you know, maybe a few minutes later, my roommates and I found out, oh, there was an earthquake in DC. This feels weird, what is it? That's basically what it was. It was so small, but it was, you still knew something was happening. It scared me because I thought it was having issues. I was drunk at the time. There was an earthquake once, maybe it was that one. Who knows? I thought I was just, like, dreaming the whole experience myself. I'm like, what's happening right now? I don't like her hands here. I'm gonna do something different. I'm kind of in this claw shape. That's not really what I'm going for. Where is my eraser? There it is. Foreshortened fingers are just the most awkward looking things in the world to draw. What's going on here? We're gonna draw all her little jewels and gems. Try to simplify her look down. I can't remember when that earthquake happened, actually, so... But I know it was a few years ago. I think I've slept through a couple of earthquakes, which makes me a little sad because I can't remember what it was like. I used to, like, live in California, and we had a couple baby ones, I think. It was definitely a new experience for me, I'll tell you that. But, you know, we're not used to that on the East Coast in Philly, so, you know, unless, you know, somebody dropped a building, basically, then you're gonna feel that tremor. I lack any real artistic ability, but my daughter has, and I do my best to encourage her. It's excellent. That's the way to do it. I found out when I was a kid that my mom was also an artist, so I don't think I've ever actually seen any of her work. Or at least if I did, I don't remember. Encouraging parent is what kept me supplied in the finest stolen office materials. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Closet full of arts and craft supplies. I'm excited to get her a new bed with a built-in desk next week, so she has this. That's excellent. That's exciting. I just grabbed, when I was growing up, we got all the random, one-off art supplies for Christmas and, birthday things. So, but I think I probably just drew on whatever paper I could get my hands on. That's kind of how I did it when I was growing up. So, and it was mostly pencils, a handful of markers here and there. So it wasn't until I became an adult and was actually going to college that I actually got real art supplies. Because my entire time in school, in high school and middle school and everything leading up to that, I think art supplies were from art class. That's a better looking hand. See that? Yes, you can. Good. afro and... Extra nice. We couldn't afford such things, so I was on the floor a lot. Real art supplies have been a life-altering... They really are. Absolutely. Love art supplies, and I tend to pick them up on sale or clearance so she can try new mediums and techniques. Also, I thought maybe I'd find one that suited me, but it never panned out. And I request people get her art supplies or gift cards to craft stores over toys we'll probably end up doing. That's a good point. That's a really, really great way to build up a nice collection of supplies. Like, just... anytime when it comes to like those gift-giving occasions, like, hey, instead of buying this, get this. I used to always have to make that decision with any money that I made from like friends and family, friends of the family and family. Whenever I was given, you know, like, hey, we're gonna give you like $20. Like, hey, thanks. And then like as I got older, I'm like, maybe instead of buying this comic or this action figure, maybe I'll just get some art supplies so I can make my own art. So I had to make that decision, and it turned into that same decision when I was in school, and I had a job, and I'm like, I think I want to actually just spend my money on like art supplies instead of, you know, all the other random stuff that I would spend my money on. My mother recently indulged me with some liquid watercolor, the brand my sister uses for her work. A little scared to use them. What brand are you using? Because I'm using Blix liquid watercolor, this guy right here. Which are fantastic. I love using them. It makes like this coloring work that I'm going to be doing in my comics super, super simple, very easy to get through. So I'm curious about any other watercolor brands you have. Some good markers, paints, and color pencils so far. I want to get a nice easel at some point and some canvas. My younger sister is a paint artist, and the kiddo loves them. Oh, that's so fun. That is so fun. Like, I'm still building up a new collection of paints and things, so I'm excited about the gouache that I have. Like, the only one who doesn't art. Oh. Well, I mean, there's nothing to stop you from trying. Like, maybe you can also explore some of those fun mediums you get with her. To say, hey, let's play around with that. I never really had anybody to like do art stuff with in my family, so I think everybody was basically very, very busy being adults who had kids to raise and bills to pay. So, you know, and it's a different experience, you know, kind of the time when I was growing up for me. So, but I got a lot of support from my family too, you know, them knowing that I wanted to pursue art, just kind of do that, and you know, all the things the teacher said, like, he's just kind of sitting here drawing in class, but you know, he's doing all right, so you know how it goes. I love getting damaged canvases from the places I visit often. Definitely like to color with her, and I did download a good app for the iPad to play around. Nice! It's weird though, I can't picture what I want to make, but it doesn't I can picture what I want to make, but it doesn't translate to my hand. I think I know what you're experiencing, and I think it's kind of normal. Because I can tell you right now, I actually go through that same thing sometimes. Like, it's in my head, and I'm like, why is this not coming through? So it just, like, obviously it takes practice, but it also takes focused effort to really get that to come out. So, you know, just, I would say keep doing it. It's Dr. P.H. Martin's. Oh, I've used those. I have a set of colors we got on clearance. I love those so much, and that's what actually, like, it was my early experiments with Dr. P.H. Martin's that actually got me to want to, like, get bigger bottles of other liquid watercolors. Because they were these tiny bottles, and I had used them all up, and I'm like, no, I want more of this, so I need to go find where I can get more. And I actually used them, when was the last time I used those? I know I was definitely in Ohio. I was here. I'm originally from Philly. It was just a handful of years ago when I said that I really want to start, working on comics and stuff. So this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago when I actually had them in hand. But they're so good. My first real work with liquid watercolors. I'm hopeful to invest more time into trying when I graduate this fall. Nice! Congratulations on graduations before I go for my doctorate. Between work, kid, and school, I'm just drained. Yeah, I get that. What are you studying in school, Shelby? I feel like you may have answered this question earlier for me, and so I'm sorry if I don't remember. All cramped up in there. What's happening here? There we go. Psychology with a focus on forensic psychology. I want to be licensed in clinical psychology in the next couple of years and then work towards getting my board certification in forensic psychology. Wow! That is highly impressive. Congratulations on, like, completing. Like, that's fantastic. Is this your first graduate level degree that you're working on, that you're going to be graduating with? Like, you're working on your master's right now? Is that what you're telling me? That's super awesome. I've been in school nonstop for the past 5 years. Yeah. Believe it. I'm working on my bachelor's level degree in human resources management, which is my current job, which I love, absolutely love, and I am looking to go and get my master's degree when I graduate. So 4 years, it feels like forever. I believe that. If the multi-packs of damaged canvas, maybe 2 of, say, 8 have holes in them, it's probably 15% of the full price otherwise. Huh, nice! So you got yourself a nice little bargain there. That's cool. I mean, considering the expense of buying, like, the full price supplies, yeah. It's great that you have that opportunity to, get that nice markdown. I think early on trying to get all the supplies you need to do, the stuff you're trying to do. Super challenging because it's super expensive. Put you down here. Yeah, I would love to get my master's degree. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to actually getting my bachelor's degree. Let me put that out first. I have attempted the bachelor's degree a couple of times. I'm really, really burned out from school because I was an art major. My first time I was a fine art major, and the second time I was animation, art, and design. And I got burned out both times. It was just super, super stressful. And I think that's probably part of the problem with me going back to school immediately after high school, like just going like high school to college pipeline. It stressed me out a little bit, just with everything going on. I probably could have finished. I was on my path. I was almost finished that first bachelor's degree, and I just wanted to be done. And so I said, I'm done. And then it wasn't until now, some years later, in my 30s, that I'm like, I can do this again. I can do this again. So I started school in 2016 when I was 25 and just wanted to go for it. First generation. Nice! Never tried school before this. A year after my dad passed away, I just realized I wanted more from my life than my parents had, and I wanted to set a precedent for my daughter. That's fantastic. That's so awesome. Look at you doing the thing. That's awesome. Get it, girl. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Because I know when my mom had me when she was roughly 18, and she was putting herself through beauty school. Yeah, I think she was 18 at the time when she had me. So I was alive, present in the world at the time when she was when she was finishing up and getting her license. So, that it was pretty meaningful. Like at the time, like I didn't really, because I was like maybe 3 or 4, so it wasn't on my mind like, oh yeah, mommy's finishing college. This wasn't like a big thing for me. I was a youngin', and I was probably more concerned with cartoons and my toys than anything else. But I can actually look back at that and say, you know what, my mom did all of this. She secured her career when she had me, so while trying to be a mom. So I think that was, for her at least, that was probably like the big thing. Like, oh my god, I finished this with my kid, and that was probably a really great, rewarding moment for her. So I can understand. And like, even from my perspective, your daughter may not necessarily get it, or she probably does. I mean, goodness knows I certainly didn't. But knowing that this is what you did when she was alive and around, like while you had her, was probably going to be really meaningful to her when she becomes an adult. so much respect for people in cosmetology. I could never do that career. Man, no, she's actually like, she's built such a great career for herself. I think the big challenge right now is because of COVID, that obviously she is not really able to work the way she wants to. But, you know, she's done some really great things for herself. Super impressive, so I can kind of look to her for that inspiration. Alright, so we are going to unfortunately block everybody else out in here because her hair is just so big. And I don't really want anybody else kind of in this scene just yet, unless I can put them more in the foreground. Of which they're really not, so. We're going to erase these figures back here. We never remember the different hairstyles or the color combos, and some people just wouldn't want to wouldn't want to touch. And I know that sounds mean, but not everyone is. No, and you're right, and that's definitely a concern in most cases. So. Like, there's, you know, jobs that people have, you know, that they really, really strive for and really, really work for. Like, I hear all the time, you know, people I work with are like, I cannot do what you do. Like I said, I'm an HR manager, so, and I love it. And, you know, I hear, you know, my coworkers, my peers say, I can't do what you do. And this is the reason why you're in this job. It's like, you're built, you have that personality for it. You have that thinking about it. And and I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess. And for me, I think that's kind of what happens for people in their careers. It just, like, things just seem kind of natural. And we just go with what is natural for us. And then other people see what we do and they're like, wow, you've got that. That is definitely a job for you. So when I actually started, that's kind of what I got a lot from all the other leaders in my store, that I had a personality that was well suited for that position, just even being an HR assistant. So it was, you know, it was really nice to kind of have those really great things being said about me by you know, supportive team. And, you know, I still get that. So yeah, I think you're right. Like, there are certain jobs that people just, maybe not for them. So like, like, I know for a fact I can never do food service. Oh, absolutely not. And there's some people who really, I mean, I don't want to say thrive in it, but they've just got the energy for it. I'm just like, I can never do this job. don't think there's any other jobs that are like that for me. Just like stuff that I know for a fact I could never do. Hairstylist probably is one of them, but I never really thought about it. I grew up in hair salons. Both my mom and my grandmother were hairstylists, so kind of gotten accustomed to that. Like, I've actually done the shampoo boy thing, so sweeping up hair, so I was adjacent to the job. It was definitely not in my wheelhouse, but like I've gotten close to it. People look down on someone for frying burgers and they go and buy the burgers and eat them. Like, who would make your burger? Exactly. And I mean, that could be a hairstylist, fry cook, garbage picker-upper, or a cashier. It's true. Like, those are jobs that need to be filled. Otherwise, the entire country would grind to a halt. But nobody wants to accept that. So, like, and I work in a store. I've done the cashier job. It's challenging. It's definitely challenging, but there are people who have that personality for customer service that's just beyond the ken of anybody else. And it's very plain that there's some people who are just better suited for that role than others. That's just how it is. Got her there. Retail was one hell of an industry. I ran away from retail as quickly as I could when it became a house cleaner for the maids for a bit. Wow. Surprisingly to me, I've been doing small-scale farming for a couple of years and I absolutely love the work. See, this is what I mean. It's like you find... Like, when we talk about finding your bliss, it's like you don't realize where that will actually be until you're kind of in a job where you do that. And it's like, wow, I'm actually kind of enjoying myself right now. I can't even count how many times I heard jokes about being a maid and if I had a costume. Oh my god, I can only imagine. So that is 3 pages there that we knocked out. I am on page 38 now. Gotta find my place in my layouts here. Here we go. Most physical job I've ever had in my life. It was intense most days. Well, yeah, because like you're not just wiping and cleaning things. You're like picking things up and moving them around in order to do all that and straightening things out. So, yeah. I was in customer service for several years. I think I'm good at it, but I had a serious nervous breakdown and it turned me off to go, yeah. I believe it. I believe it. I will tell you right now, being someone who is currently in retail, it is very, very difficult to, a lot of times, yes, find the motivation and the energy to get up out of bed and go back in to do that all over again every day. It's even worse when you feel as though your bosses and your coworkers, you're not getting that support from them. So, like, that's where a lot of that challenge really comes in. So, when you have an opportunity when you have someone, a leader or manager or even coworkers who are actually there to give you the support, it actually does make the job easier. But a lot of times, no, it's rough. It's rough. And you really hope that, it's leading to something. Because if it's not, you're just kind of looking around your life like, what is this? And you realize, I need to find something else to do with my life because this is not it. I'm glad that the position I have, I started out on the sales floor and I, said, hey, this is actually where I want to be. you know, I was in a position in a business that allowed me to pursue different things within the business, pursue different roles, and I found where I was best suited. And that's a great opportunity for so many of the other people that we work with and all the other people who work for the business, that it's like, yeah, this is always an opportunity. You can go elsewhere. So I have a hard time writing by hand now, though, since it was a repetitive movement for like a year straight. So carpal tunnel startup. Ooh. Scrubbing, vacuuming, doing kitchen and bathroom floors on hands and knees per company policy. Yep. And like, that's rough, because like there are machines that actually do all of that. And so, you know, I think probably depending on, you know, maybe the type of company that you're working for that's doing cleaning, they may not have access to that. So that's why you have to get down on your hands and knees and all the scrubbing. So yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. Alright, y'all, it is late. It is 10:30. I've gotten through 3 pages and some drawings, so we're gonna bring back our little fox. So just as a reminder to everyone, if you were to check the channel points, if you're accumulating them, you can get me to do a 5-minute sketch. Bring this little guy. This was Shelby's fox. So that is actually a thing. Cost 500 channel points to actually get me to do one of these. It's just a fun little thing. Yes, I mentioned this at the top. Go ahead and use that to interrupt the stream and say, hey, you know, let's get this sketch done. It has to be something that is completely safe for work and safe for Twitch. And just something I can do in 5 minutes. So there won't be any inking or anything like that, but it'll be a full pencil sketch. I need to actually find the rest of my drawing pencils so I can actually really do that really much nicer with, you know, the actual tools that I should have at my disposal. So this will be fun. I'll probably have another one. I don't know if I'm going to be opening up commissions at any point. If I do, you guys will be the first to know. Well, maybe you and Twitter and whoever is visiting my website at the time and Facebook, but you guys will find out that I have opened up commissions if I do that. I'm busy working on the comic, so I'm probably not going to have any opportunity to really do commissions, so this is going to be the next best thing, is to get me to do those 5-minute sketches. I will absolutely love to do them, and it'll be really, really fun to have a fun little point reward on the channel. I'm going to think of some other things that I can add, and that'll be really fun to do too. So we did that. That was, again, this is Shelby's fox. And then I'm also working on changing out the little drawing, the icon there for the channel points rewards, for our, our bits badge. Let me get that right. I mean, I will be changing the channel points rewards soon. I'll show you that picture in a minute. So this is going to be the start of the bits badge. So you'll see this instead of the little diamond thing. Hopefully, if I can get that to work, this will be kind of fun. We'll see some kind of variation of this on all the different levels. And then there will be bits emotes that I'll work on as well. So we'll see lots of fun stuff there. And then this is going to be our little channel points reward icon image. So I think that'll be fun. So you'll see that hopefully by the next stream. And I'll be working on a lot of other random little drawings and things, so we'll definitely have fun with it. So, like I said, it is now 10:30. I would definitely like to go to bed. I do have to be up fairly early in the morning. I got a big orientation to get through, so we are going to call it here. Let me see what is going on right now. There's no one that I want to send you guys to raid to, so I guess I will just call it here right now. I do want to thank you all for coming by and hanging out. We've actually had quite a few people in the chat, so I appreciate it. If you're, you know, not saying anything, but you're just watching everything happen, hey, you know what? You're welcome here. I appreciate you coming by and just hanging out with me, so I appreciate that. Good night, Morty Fun Stream. Thank you, DM Opus. I appreciate you coming through. Everyone who came through. What else we've got going on here? Ampersander, thank you for the follow tonight. I appreciate that. That was really great. So you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna drink the rest of my water and just kind of relax for the rest of the night. Serena, perfect. Thank you. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow because I will be back on tomorrow. We're going to power through the rest of these pages this week and next week, and we'll have some fun with it. All right, you guys, have a good night. I will see you later. Thank you so much. Take care.